Good morning, Shefa Brucha V'Atzlucha. We are starting this week parashat Truma, and then we'll have Tetzaveh, Kitisa, Pikudei, and all those parts are talking about the tabernacle and all the parts and everything. And one of the biggest questions is why? Why do we need to know all those details, and more details, and again, on a thing that we're not going even to build? The Mishkan, the tabernacle, was in the desert. It was escorting Am Yisrael through the desert. But then we built Bet HaMikdash, the temple. And the Bet HaMikdash, there was the first one unfortunately destroyed, the second one destroyed, and we're waiting to build what? Not the tabernacle, not the Mishkan, Bet HaMikdash. So why do we need to know all the details? First of all, are we builders? Do we need to know all the details of things that we not, even if we build them, we're not going to use them because they were a part of the Mishkan in the desert and they've got nothing to do with the temple. So what's all this about? And that's the secret it's written, V'asuri mikdash v'shachanti betocham. It's not written on the Mishkan. The title is, V'asuri mikdash, you will make me a temple and a dwell. Where? Where will I be? V'shachanti betocham. Not in singular, but in plural. Betocham, inside of each one of us. The real temple. The real Mishkan. What is the Mishkan? Mishkan is a place where you live. The Mishkan is the idea of a Mishkan for the Shekhinah. A place where the Shekhinah can stay, where God can be with us. Here in Olam Hazeh. And the idea is not the stone and not all the other parts and the titles, and it's what we're doing with it inside us. This is a temple, v'shachanti betocham. God wants us to build a temple inside us. And how do we do this? Those are all those details. All those details, they have this, by the way, the prophet came to Am Yisrael and God told him, go and tell them about the building of the temple, but they are in the Yaspra, they're not going to build it now. It's like you mocking them, telling them to build a plan of the Mikdash, and there is not. It says here in Parsha, V'chen ta'asu. What is V'chen ta'asu? Gives all this is the temple, and V'chen, and so you will do. What do you mean you will do? You will do, each one of us has to do his own temple. His own temple inside us, a place for the Shekhinah to come, in place of God to dwell in us, to be inside us. This is the idea of the temple. It's not the tent, it's not the stone, it's not all the details. It's how do we learn from those details? That's the idea. How do we learn from those details how to build the Mishkan inside us? What's got it to do with us? So first of all, I'm going to tell you a story. We import orthopedic chairs, ergonomic chairs. One of the best firms in the world. Really unbelievable quality. It is so good for the back. If you've got backaches, it solves the problems. It's not a doctor, but it gives you a good posture, and a lot of times it even solves the problem, because most of the problems are from sitting in a wrong way. Anyway, this guy phones me after sitting on this chair for 10 years, and he's telling me, listen, I need to buy a chair. I went to the orthopedic or whatever you call it, and I've got serious backaches, and he told me what I need in a chair, and I bought a chair from you 10 years ago. I said, what chair did you buy 10 years ago? And he tells me. I said, I can understand it. We're talking about one of the best chairs there is, and you are suffering from backaches? I don't know. He says, have you got a chair nearby? He says, yes, I'm still sitting on it. He says, did you, and then I'm thinking about, did you turn the wheel down and the thing, did you adjust the seat? Did you adjust the back? Did you, he says, what? He says, what do you mean? What do you mean what? Did you saw all those knobs and all those, how do you say, levels on the chair? What do you think? They are there for you to adjust the chair. It's a multifunction chair to adjust the chair to you. And I'm telling you here, underneath you've got this knob and this knob, and do that. Take a little the back down or up, and says, oh, wow, I feel the back. It's unbelievable. Wow. So I'm telling to myself inside, What a stupid guy. 10 years he's sitting on a chair. Who knows how he got the chair? Maybe he got this like this. And he's sitting, of course he's going to ruin his back because he's not sitting properly. An orthopedic chair, an ergonomic chair, you need to adjust it to your body. You cannot just go and sit on it without adjusting. And this chair's got so many adjustments. Unbelievable. And wow. When I ask, why didn't you phone before if you have backaches? You know, you bought an orthopedic chair. Says, I was ashamed. And now you're not ashamed? Now you've got no problem? What can I say? And this is exactly the idea. If we have something complicated, something big, it's built from details. You have details. You need to know the details, how it's function. You know, you can get the best instrument in the world, the best whatever you need. And if you don't know how to work it, how to make it work, it's not going to work. And so, what's the idea of building the Mishkan? Look at all the details. And from those details, you will learn how to build the Mishkan inside you. Okay? And we have so many details because this is a big thing to building a Mishkan. So there are a lot of details. So how do we learn from the details? How do I learn from the poles and from all the other tools of the Mishkan, how to build the Mishkan inside me? What's the connection? So for example, when we're talking about the poles that were holding the big poles that stood of the Mishkan, and there was a pole in the middle that went inside in a hole through the 3 walls, and it was bending on the corners. It was a miracle. 1 pole, not 3 poles, 1 pole went through the whole tabernacle, through the walls, and the 3 walls from one side to the other side. As it's written, one minute, let me find it. Subject. והבריח התיכון בתוך הקרשים מבריח מן הקצה אל הקצה. הבריח התיכון, the middle pole, was going inside the walls from one side to the other side, and you didn't see it from the outside. But this was holding the whole structure, because without this middle pole that was inside that nobody saw, the pole were not stable. And this reminds me, one day I was sitting on the beach, and I saw 2 kids playing with the sand, trying to build something. So they're trying to build with the sand, the sand goes everywhere. You cannot build anything with it. One kid brought a bucket with water and spilled the water on the sand, and then they built this beautiful palace. Wow. Now, when you looked at it, you saw a palace from sand, because you don't see the water. But without the water, you cannot build it. In other words, you don't see the water. Water is inside the sand, but without the water, you cannot build anything. And that's exactly the point. The inside, like the body and the soul. We have the soul is inside the body. But without the soul, there is no body. There's nothing. And by the way, also, when you have only, if you have only soul without a body, so the soul cannot do anything in this world. So you need a combination of the soul and the body. Where is the soul? Inside. Inside, you don't see it. That's the tabernacle. You don't see the inside, but the inside is the important part. This is what holds everything. The inside of chesed, the inside of love, the inside of the spiritual part. And this is exactly like those 2 kids taught me this lesson. You look at this palace in the sand, you see, wow. But without the water, it would not hold. And the water by itself also. So you spill the water, so what? You do nothing with it. But when you take this combination of the water and the sand, you build something beautiful, and you look at it, wow, but you don't see the water. But the water is what holds it. By the way, what is water? Torah. The Torah is what holds everything. And this is all the idea of the tabernacle. Tabernacle was Mishkan Ha'edut, for the testimony, for the Ten Commandments, for the Torah to be inside. That's the whole idea. And also when we look at the tools of the Mishkan, everything has got something to learn from. Even the measurements. And by the way, when we look through the Parsha, so many measurements. Like, for example, let me start. You make this is the where you put the covenant, where you put the Torah, the 10 Luchot. 2.5 amot is the length, 1.5 the width, 1.5 the height. Then, by the way, there's also something very interesting learning from the measurements, but we'll see if we get to it. Then you have ועשית כפורת, and you do the כפורת, what covers the covenant, the ארון העדות. 2.5 אורכה, 2.5 length, 1.5 width, and so on. We see more and more details of everything, all the tools and all the vessels, everything's got measurement. But there is one very important thing that's got not even one measurement. And you know what it is? Listen. ועשית מנורת זהב טהור. You will sew the menorah from pure gold, from one piece. תעשה המנורה ירחה וקנה וגביעיה, and you have so many details, 6 קנים מצידה האחד, 3 קנים מצידה השני, 3 גביעים. The Torah is not it's not stingy with the words here with the menorah. More and more words, like more and more psukim talking about the menorah, how it's built. But there's one thing missing. What is it? I told you. No measurements. No measurements once at all. You know the measurements, but not from the Torah Shebichtav. It's not written. Why? So much is written about the menorah. And so many measurements of all the other parts of the Mishkan are there. Why do we have all those details of the menorah without measurements? Because the menorah is the symbol of the light of the Torah. And the Torah's got no measurements. It's infinity. It's got no end. And this is, by the way, why the Aron that you put the Torah in, the Aron, the cupboard, I don't remember how you call it. Never mind. The Aron, you all know what I'm talking about. The Aron that you put inside, the cupboard that you put inside the Torah, is got half measurements. 1.5, 2.5, not all. And by the way, when we're coming to the altar is written, everything is all. And the table has got a part whole and a part half. And what is the idea? First of all, the idea of when we're talking about Aron HaEdut, where the Torah was, the Torah, as we said, whatever you learn, there is more to learn. So you never will get to the whole Torah. You will always have more to learn. That's why all the measurements of the Aron HaEdut are 2.5, 1.5 in halves and not whole. The altar is to make peace between God. So this is to be whole again. And the table is like talking about Parnasa. So the one who is not, by the way, not I've got enough. No, I'm happy with what I've got. This is the rich guy who is happy with what he's got. So this one, the measurements are whole in the Shulchan. But we all know that we want more and more and more, so we never will get all the money that we want. So that's why we have a part of the measurements whole for those who sameach bechelko, and the other part is half, in order to show us that you will never get to be satisfied with the money and the gold that you want. The only way is sameach bechelko. And what is sameach bechelko? You should be happy with what you've got. How do you do this? Understand that everything that God gave you is the best for you. It's not good for the others. It's this. I'll always bring a sample of. I have a friend that has got a very sophisticated car. He talks with her, it goes, and he also for years he's got it. Very sophisticated. It doesn't have to do anything. The cars, the seat moves by itself. Everything. It's unbelievable. But wow, this is something to be jealous. My friend is 100% crippled. Now, are you jealous? Of course not. It's like going into somebody's house and opening the cupboard and seeing, wow, so many bottles of medicine he's got. Are you going to be jealous? Huh, you crazy? And this is exactly what you have to put in ourselves. There is no reason to be jealous in what our friends got. There is no reason to want what he's got. You should be happy with what you got, what each one of us got. This is the best for us. There is nothing more that we need. Everything God gave us what we need. And this is the side of the table, the shulchan, that is the symbol of parnasa. There's a lot of other symbols. There's a lot to learn. There is no end to what we can learn from the parsha. Just showing you a few details, what we learn, how to build the tabernacle inside us, how to build the mishkan, the temple inside us. The thing is, we're talking about the shulchan, where the Aron, the cupboard, the Aron Ayedut, where there was the Luchot HaBrit, where the Torah was inside. It was also built from outside gold, inside gold, the middle wood. And this is also something to learn. And the idea is that the wood is something that grows. Even if you know Torah, you will never know enough. You will always have to grow. And that's why you have two figures of kruvim, of kids, on the Aron, that was, and with the wings going up to show us the development. All the time try to go up and up, because the Torah's got no end. So let us build this tabernacle, this mishkan, this temple inside us. Learn from the details of the mishkan. Learn that the power of the pole that was inside, holding everything, the part of the Torah that is the center of the mishkan. This is what is important, what is inside, and this has to shine outside. All the best. Have a beautiful month. משנכנס אדר מרבים בשמחה.